Today, we're diving into a really powerful story about money, a lesson from a grandfather that kind of flips everything we think we know on its head. It all boils down to one piece of advice that, at first, sounds completely wrong.
Never save money. Yeah, you heard that right. Those were the first words he told his grandson. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, what? Every expert, every parent, literally everyone tells us we have to save money. So what on earth did this grandfather know that we don't?
And that is the big question, isn't it? We're going to unpack exactly why he'd say something so crazy, because this isn't just some random hot take. It's a lesson he learned the hard way, through incredible struggle. And his story explains it all perfectly. To really get his advice, we first have to understand the man he used to be. You see, long before he became this wise old grandfather, he was a dreamer. A man who lived in his head but didn't take much action. Oh, he had big dreams. He dreamed about opening his own shop, buying cows, becoming wealthy. But the reality, it was a world away from all that. The truth was, his family didn't have bread or rice, and his own grandson was running around barefoot. His dreams were just dreams. Nothing was happening to make them real.
Then one night, his wife said this to him. It wasn't mean, it wasn't an attack, it was just this gentle, heartbreaking truth. Dreams are amazing, but you can't eat them. And that was the first little crack in his fantasy world.
But the real tipping point, the moment that shattered everything, came when his little grandson asked for a piece of bread. His wife went to the cupboard and opened it, and it was completely bare. In that instant, the story says the grandfather felt a deep pain in his heart. He finally got it. Dreams weren't enough. He had to do something. So for the first time, he went out and got a job working in the fields. And with this new work came a new idea, a new sense of hope. He decided he was going to save his family. Literally. He took a simple glass jar and hid it under their bed, and every week he would drop a few coins inside. You can just imagine that little clink, clink sound. That sound was hope. He even told his grandson, "This is our tomorrow." He truly believed that just piling up coins was the path to a better future. And man, did he sacrifice. He wore shoes that were falling apart. He ate less, all so he could put every single spare coin into that jar. Days passed. And those days turned into months of just grinding it out, saving every little bit he could. He'd just watch that line of coins get higher and higher. And the months turned into years. Until one day, finally, the jar was full. He must have felt so proud, so secure. He believed he had done it. He had saved tomorrow. He marched off to the market with that heavy jar of money, and he had a very specific plan. He'd done the math. All that money should be enough to buy 3 huge sacks of corn for his family. That would have been a game changer. But then, the crash. The shopkeeper counted out all those coins and just shook his head. Prices had gone way up over the years. The money he had painstakingly saved for 3 sacks of corn could now only buy 1.5. His savings had literally lost half their value just sitting in that jar.
He was crushed, absolutely devastated. But sometimes failure is where the most important breakthroughs happen. He didn't quit. Instead, a new idea started to form, one that would change everything. He shifted his entire mindset from just storing money to actually creating value with it.
So one evening, he's just watching his neighbors walk by. One's carrying eggs from their chickens, another is carrying milk, and they looked peaceful. They weren't worried. And it just clicked. They didn't have jars of money. They had things that produced value every single day. So he took what was left of his savings, and he bought a few chickens. He called it his little egg factory. And the system was brilliant in its simplicity. First, you buy a few chickens. Then you eat some of the eggs, but you sell the rest. You take that money and you buy more chickens. And just like that, you've created a tiny engine for growth that fuels itself. One day, he was holding an egg and he explained his big realization to his grandson. He said, "This egg is more powerful than a jar of money. Because an egg can become a chicken, which can lay more eggs. It's alive, it grows. The money in the jar, it could only ever get smaller." And that one powerful insight became the core lesson he passed down for the rest of his life. It was all built around this simple but brilliant new way of thinking. He put it like this: just saving money is like trying to hold water in your hands. It's just going to slowly slip through your fingers, right?
that's inflation, that's life. But growing money, that's using it to build something, an asset. And that thing actually gets bigger and more valuable over time. So here it is, the big lesson, all wrapped up. Don't just save your money. Your goal should be to make your money grow. Use it to build something, anything, even if it starts off tiny. Because an asset that produces value, whether it's chickens, a skill, or a small business, is so much more powerful than cash just sitting in a jar. And that brings us to the final thought, and it's really a question for you. This story isn't just about farming. It's a principle for all of us. So take a second and think, what's your chicken and egg? What small, productive thing can you start building today that will grow into your tomorrow?